Greg, the Uber driver. Today is Monday, September 25th, and today I rode with one of my riders that I take periodically. The rider's an attorney, and the rider deals predominantly in insurance cases where the insurance companies are trying to get out of paying the claim. And I decided I would ask the attorney about, you only hear this as the excuse from DeSantis and the Republicans to why insurance costs are 4 or 5 times higher in Florida is fraud, fraud, fraud. It's just fraud, 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 fraud. And so I asked the attorney, I said, in your cases, how many times have you seen fraud to be brought about? And the attorney said, in all the cases, fraud has never been brought about. A judge or jury has never brought judgment against anyone for fraud. Now, insurance companies like to use the word or make the statement that you're committing fraud. That's just a mechanism for them to try to deny the claim. And that's what they want to do. Insurance companies make money by denying the claim, not by paying the claim. And so while they may accuse someone of committing fraud on a claim, it's really not fraud, especially if nothing's proven. That's the turn. So what is the deal with this? And basically, that's just a BS answer by the politicians, by the Republicans, so that the insurance companies can charge more. I asked, is there any reason that we should be different than any of the other 5 or 6 states that have almost as many hurricanes as Florida does? Texas is just behind Florida. Florida has 120 hurricanes that have been recorded since the 1851, since the National Weather Service started recording hurricanes. Texas is followed behind with about 70. My numbers are not exact, but they're a prop from my memory. North Carolina is next with about 60. Then I believe South Carolina is next. We've got Alabama and Mississippi are next and next. And you go on through the top 10, and New Jersey and New York are on there. They don't have, Florida doesn't have many more hurricanes than they do. Likewise, Florida doesn't have any more attorneys than they do. Florida doesn't have any more fraudulent claims that are brought about than they do. But our insurance prices are 4 or 5 times higher. So I said, what is the difference? As I've said, to me, the difference is our laws and our elected officials that are allowing this to occur, that write the laws, such as Governor DeSantis and the Republican legislature. And I asked about that. And I said, why did, what's up with this? Have our laws been written to benefit the consumer in any way? And the attorney said, no. The laws have been written purely to benefit the insurance companies. Now, you do know the insurance companies given over $3.9 million to Governor DeSantis. Imagine that, Governor DeSantis making decisions on behalf of the insurance companies that they've given him money to. You would know he would never do that. Never, never in 100 years, never. But he does. And you go, well, DeSantis doesn't have anything to do with the insurance prices. Oh, yes, he does. Number one, he and the legislature wrote the laws. He appoints the commissioner of insurance. The commissioner of the Office of Insurance Regulation is the one who has final approval, and the board, about how much of an increase insurance companies can they request, and then how much they get approved for. They have final say. In turn, the governor appoints the commissioner of Office of Insurance Regulation and the board that makes these decisions. In turn, Governor DeSantis not only writes the laws along with the legislature and signs them into force, he also appoints the commissioner of the Office of Insurance Regulation and the board that approves the insurance prices. So what do you think they're going to do? They owe their jobs to him. They're going to decide what they need to decide. They're going to give those increases. The companies are making money, and insurance costs in Florida are 4 to 5 times higher than every other state, including the other 5 or 6 states that follow us closely with hurricanes. Why is that? Kickbacks, maybe, all these contributions, politics, politics and money. Again, back to my point, we don't have that many more hurricanes here. We certainly have no more attorneys. We have no more true fraudulent claims, which is not true. It's just not true. It's politics. It's DeSantis and the Republicans that have controlled things, and they're the ones letting the insurance companies run rampant over you as the voters and as the citizens here in Florida. So I suggest you all better start waking up and realize what's going on, because they're robbing your pocketbook to pay these insurance companies, which is why we're seeing people having to sell their homes and having to leave. I don't know if you remember a couple months ago, that was in Pembroke Pines in Century Village there. The people were protesting, the older people. I mean, this is a 55 and older community, and they had to call the police on them because they were so angry about the HOA having to increase the monthly homeowner dues by $100 to $200 to pay for the additional insurance costs. Insurance costs have gone crazy. And I know I've mentioned to you all about my friend Judy in West Palm Beach, where her insurance has increased over the last 4 years from $5,000 a year to $17,000 a year. That is over $1,000 an increase a month in insurance cost. Her daughter likewise recently is buying a house and almost didn't qualify because the insurance cost was so much that her debt to income ratios on the payment were so that they had to basically finagle with the insurance company a way to do like a graduated payment to where the first year of the insurance payments would be lower, but they're going to jump up in the next 2 or 3 years. And Judy said she didn't know if her daughter would be able to afford the house after that because she barely could make the payments where they were going to be now. And then they're like a lot of other people. They're having to sell their homes and their condos because they can't afford the insurance. It's crazy. So this is a huge problem, and Governor DeSantis and our dear legislature is doing nothing about it. So it's all politics. It's politics and money is all it is. It's not because of hurricanes. It's not because of attorneys. It's not because of fraud. It's because of politicians. And Governor DeSantis is the politician that's in charge of this. There you have it. His butt needs to be voted out. Too bad we don't have recall. For all of you all that want us to recall DeSantis, there is no recall in Florida. We're stuck with him, but his power is dropping, and he may not be able to get everything he wants right now. So it's important, though, that everybody in Florida vote. 7 million people did not vote in 2022. Half the voters in Florida did not vote. It's imperative that you vote, that you get off your lazy butt and you go out and vote. If you don't, you're going to get more terrible leaders like DeSantis, like Trump, Mr. Indictment King. We're going to get people like that back in office. So you better be ready to vote, and you better not stay at home. Every vote does count. And speaking of votes, good old Lauren Boebert, she won by, I think, 564 votes. The 2000 election between Gore and Bush was decided by 537 votes in Florida. And so votes do count. So you can tell yourself that if you just want to cop out and not go vote, then you're just being lazy and not go voting. So I've kind of rambled on here, but this is where we're going to stop this video.